Okay, among us, there is our honorable speaker, Bill. Hi, Bill. He's from SQF Australia. And there, it's already not down, sunset, yeah. So it's getting dark in Australia.
It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, yes.
Wow,
6 o'clock in the evening.
yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
Yeah, so today we will have two honorable guests who will share to us about the SQF, yeah, what is SQF scheme related to food safety. And just last month, I attend SQF global event. It's online event regarding to the launching of the 9th edition, yeah. So it's really fresh, very new, and we will let Bill and Sarah to join us and present to us about SQF. And also SQF is having anniversary, yeah, 25th this year. So means the standard is actually quite long time ago, yeah. But I think Indonesian mostly not really familiar with SQF compared to other standards. So I'm very happy to invite our two honorable speakers today. So hopefully we can have good discussions this afternoon, ya, Bapak Ibu, and yeah, maybe beneficial for you all. Okay, Bill, I think Sarah is having problem to reconnect. Perhaps you can say hi first. Greetings to all of participants today.
Just make sure I'm unmuted and get on video, and that's me. There I am. So good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. And thank you, Dito, for your invitation for us to join your webinar. Glad you were able to make it to SQF Global.
Yeah.
And as you indicated, we don't have much presence in Indonesia. Very little presence in Indonesia. So we would like to see Indonesia as a country where we could start to expand our business. So that'll be part of our objective today, is to introduce people to the SQF code, the advantages and the status of the SQF system, the SQF codes, and then to hopefully encourage people to get more involved and interested in SQF.
Yeah, that's great. So means hopefully all the participants can get benefit because we have so various background of the participants. There are some from industry, some from universities, also food services, hotel, resort, yeah, restaurants, distributor, also certification body. So I think I got more than 100, even if I limited the participants quota up to 90, but the hype is quite okay. So the registered participant is more than 100. So I need to close the registration by this morning. So yeah, this is our warm welcome for you, Bill and Sarah later. So means all of Indonesian food safety practitioner is really curious about what is SQF and hope that you can give enlightenment to us.
Okay, then we will just we'll get started.
Sure, please. Time is yours, Bill.
Okay, I'll keep going then, and you just tell me when to stop or when things don't work, or if I'm muted or whatever. If you can't hear me, there's a thunderstorm outside here, so who knows what's going to happen in the next half hour. But again, Dito, thank you very much for the welcome, for the introduction, and for allowing us to be part of this webinar this afternoon. Joining me at some time during this presentation will be Sarah Wu, who is our representative in China and Taiwan. She's based in Taiwan, based in Taipei, and I think has worked with Dito in the past. So she's known. First of all, who am I? I'm based in Sydney, Australia, and that's where I'm talking to you from just now. I live and work in Sydney, Australia. I used to be the chairman of the GFSI Auditor Competence Scheme Committee, and have been involved with GFSI, the Global Food Safety Initiative, for many years. And I've also been the Asia Pacific representative for the SQF program since 2010. It started in Australia with the Department of Agriculture in Western Australia, which is the western part of the continent. In 1994, 1995, the first certificate was issued. And it stayed within as an Australian standard until 2003, when it was purchased by what was then the Food Marketing Institute, it's now the Food Industry Association in the United States. But there wasn't much growth in the United States until GFSI came to the United States in about 2007, 2008. And after that, it just took off because SQF was the only GFSI benchmark scheme that was based in the United States. I know BRC's there now, FSSC's there now, but SQF is still the only major GFSI benchmark scheme that is based in the United States. So we've gone through a number of iterations from the initial SQF 2000 code back in 1995 through to edition 7, where we consolidated all the codes into one, and then edition 8, where we divided it up again. And now in 2020, we've got edition 9. I'll explain why we've changed it so much over the period of time.
Okay, great.
Okay, we're back good again.
Yes.
So the early history was we had 2 SQF codes. Back when it was an Australian standard, we had the SQF 1000 code, which was developed in 1997 for primary production, for pre-farm gate, for livestock and for primary produce, because really that's where it started. It started in livestock production, excuse me, and it started in fruit and vegetable production. And really, if you think about it, 1995 was when ISO 9000 first emerged. And ISO 9000 was a sort of go-to standard for everyone, including the food industry. And the Department of Agriculture in Western Australia felt that ISO 9000 was not appropriate. It was too big. It was too cumbersome for growers. So they wanted their growers to have an appropriate code. And so that's where the SQF code started. It started with the SQF 2000 code. This version here is 1997. And in those days, I've still got a copy here in my office. In those days, it was a 6-page document. That's all. Just a very simple 6-page document. And SQF 2000, why was it called 2000? Because, well, it was developed in 1995, and I don't think they felt it would go any further than the year 2000. So that's why it was 2000. SQF 1000 came along just a couple of years later for primary production only. So all the way through in when it was in Australia, and then when it moved to the United States, to the Food Marketing Institute, we still kept that SQF 1000 and SQF 2000. We still kept that whole sort of concept of pre-farm gate and post-farm gate. But gradually, the standard itself got more and more complex. And so in 2012, we combined everything into one code. We got rid of the 1000, we got rid of the 2000, and in 2012, we just called it the edition 7 code. However, within the code, we always had 3 levels. And this goes right back to the start. And we continued this in edition 7. We still had the 3 levels, where level 1 was an entry level standard for new and developing businesses, for small to medium enterprises. Basically, there was no HACCP in it. It just covered GAP, GMP, GDP requirements, and basic food safety elements, but right through the supply chain, from primary production through manufacturing, storage, and distribution. Level 2 was the GFSI benchmark level.
Mm.
It recognized suppliers that had implemented a full Codex HACCP food safety plan in addition to the food safety fundamentals at level 1. And it's level 2 that SQF was and still is, to a certain extent, benchmarked by GFSI. So it requires that full Codex HACCP food safety plan, plus the GMP or GAP requirements. And level 3 is the quality plan. And as we still do today, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, as we still do today, the SQF at level 3 then, and it's now in the quality code, requires a full HACCP quality plan in addition to the food safety plan and food safety fundamentals. So it was a build-up system, level 1, level 2, level 3, with level 2 being the accredited GFSI recognized level. But then we decided to change it again. And when we came up to edition 8, we decided that having everything in the one volume was too cumbersome. That SQF code at edition 7, 7.1, 7.2, these are just minor adjustments, was far too cumbersome. It was about 200, 300 pages. Sites couldn't find what they required within that particular, and we covered every industry code, from livestock and fruit and vegetable growing through to manufacturing, storage and distribution, right through to retail and food packaging. So can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
So in addition 8, we decided to split it up again. And we split it up into level 1 became SQF Fundamentals, and still is to this day SQF Fundamentals. And I'll talk a little bit about fundamentals towards the end of this presentation. Level 2 was broken up. So level 2 is the HACCP level, is the GFSI benchmark levels, the accredited level. That's the normal certification standards. It was split up into primary production, manufacturing, storage and distribution, packaging, and then we gradually introduced retail and now food service as well. And we took out the level 3 as a separate independent quality code. Now that happened in edition 8, but we still had issues because manufacturing covered pet food, animal feed, as well as all the manufacturing codes. Why have we changed it so much? And really, by the way, today, what we want to focus on is this level 2, the food safety codes, because that is the level of certification that is GFSI benchmarked, GFSI recognized, and is the accredited standard. The quality code isn't recognized by GFSI because GFSI doesn't recognize quality. What we have been doing all the way through is following the GFSI requirements, because they have developed and matured and been updated every year from 2011 onwards. We had GFSI edition 6 back in 2012, and that was updated to 6.1, 6.2, 6.3 within 2 years. And each of the schemes, what they now refer to as CPOs, certification programs, we still call them schemes. Each of the schemes, whether it's SQF, BRC, IFS, have had to comply with the GFSI requirements and be reassessed against the GFSI requirements every time a new version has come out. In 2017, they brought out what they call Benchmark Requirement 7 in March 2017. That changed a couple of times between then and March 2018. And now we have what is known as, well, they don't call it BR8 anymore. They call it GFSI 2020. They've changed the name slightly, but it's still the GFSI benchmarking process. Why are we interested in GFSI? Why should SQF or any of the other schemes be recognized by GFSI? Because that's the passport to trade for certification schemes globally today. GFSI is present and relevant in almost every country. in primary production, a lot of the African countries, in the Middle East, in the US, in Europe, right throughout Asia, increasingly in Asia as well. And Sarah will touch on some of the things that are happening with GFSI in Asia in her presentation. So it is a requirement for the schemes, the global schemes that want to meet retailer requirements to meet GFSI requirements and be recognized by GFSI. So we have a requirement to update, excuse me, update the standard on a regular basis to meet GFSI requirements. We also want to, because GFSI sets the benchmark, is the foundation for all food safety management schemes. They have the stakeholder groups, they have the infrastructure to be able to determine what is coming down the line in terms of food safety management issues. They adjust it to allergen management, they adjust it to food fraud, they adjust it to food defense. They now have requirements for all these within their requirements. And so it's important that the schemes such as SQF meet these requirements as well. So not only have we been benchmarked against GFSI requirements all the way through, and currently we're going through the benchmarking process to GFSI 2020 for edition 9, because that's the next step in that process. All the schemes have to reapply to GFSI before the end of the in fact, the end of this month. The application's got to go in to make sure that we maintain our recognition to GFSI. So with edition 9, our objectives were a few. Firstly, to improve the architecture and structure of the codes, because the font, the layout of the codes really hadn't changed since 1995. We just added more pages. We hadn't changed the look, the feel, the structure of the codes. We had to do that. We wanted to evaluate the audit process to create a more risk-focused audit. That was our intention as well. Obviously, we had to meet the GFSI benchmark requirements, what are listed here as BR8, but it's now known as GFSI 2020. Enhance the codes overall to better address industry and emerging issues. Because not only do we listen to GFSI, but we listen to our stakeholders. And our primary stakeholders are retailers. We exist in the countries we operate in because retailers are asking for GFSI benchmark standards for their supply chain. That's why we're there. So unless we meet the retail requirements, and sometimes there's a gap between the GFSI requirements. GFSI is a foundation, but retailer requirements are very often over the top of that. So we talk to and we listen to our retailers on what's causing them hurt, what's causing them pain, what's costing them money in terms of recalls or warehouse withdrawals. Recalls we can get information on because that's public, but warehouse withdrawals we have to talk to them about. And also we wanted to combine commonly used industry scopes into one code. For example, growers and pack houses. This example we see on the right here, the plant production, we now have a separate code for plant production, which covers growing and harvesting of sprouted seed crops, growing and production of fresh produce and nuts, fresh produce and nut packhouse operations, and extensive broadacre agricultural crops, all within the one code now, whereas they were lost within the primary production code before. So we've made a few changes there. So basically our timeline, this has been a major work. It's not just a case of changing a few lines, changing a few things and hoping for the best. Started back in August 2019, where we identified major areas of change and developed an implementation timeline. We started getting stakeholder surveys and retailer input in September last year. We have a technical advisory committee. It's a requirement for every GFSI benchmark scheme, including SQF, and we listen to our technical advisory committee, and we also have a certification body committee. And then we began the work with technical work groups, and I'll explain the technical work groups in a second. Now, we did all this before the GFSI benchmarking requirements came out, because we are on the committees for the GFSI benchmarking requirements. We know what's coming down the line. And so we were able to predict some of their changes. And then in May of this year, we prepared a draft standards, plural, covering all the industry scopes, and then had a second round of discussions with the Technical Advisory Committee and Certification Body Committee, released the codes for public comment, and I'll explain some of that in a minute. And then, once we integrated all that feedback, on October 28th, we released the SQF Codes Edition 9. They were finally published, and they are due for implementation in May 2021, on the 24th of May 2021. So we're actually training the SQF Code Edition 9 now. We're training auditors on the SQF Code Edition 9. We've just run an auditor training course virtually this week, and it's all based on Edition 9. And the reason for that is we want to give people, sites, clients, auditors, certification bodies, time to adjust to the new standards before the implementation date of May 2021.
Okay, Bill, I think we pause here first. Sorry to cut your presentation, because I think there is one question. Are you okay if we
Yeah, sure thing.
First?
Yeah, stop me at any time.
Yeah, okay. So there is one question here. Pak Joko, do you want to open your mic, or I can read your question for you?
That's a great question. That's okay.
Okay. Saya bacain aja ya Pak, bergema soalnya. Okay. Bill, would I be able... Okay, first question. How would the SQF codes or standards be in line with ISO 22000-2018 FSMS? That's the first question.
Yep. Do you want me to answer that one first?
Yeah. Answer just one by one.
ISO 22000 is an international standard. One of the reasons, if you go back in history, one of the reasons that SQF and BRC and IFS started was because ISO 22000 didn't exist at the time. If you go back to 1995, ISO 22000 wasn't there.
Yeah. It's 2008,
ISO 22000.
Right?
That's right. ISO 22000 is a good base standard, but it's not detailed enough. It's not prescriptive enough for many in the retail and manufacturing supply chain. That's why FSSC, for example, FSC 22000 is based on ISO 22000, but they add more prescription to meet GFSI requirements. So the GFSI requirements go beyond ISO 22000. It's not a criticism, not here to criticize ISO 22000. Anyone who's got it and wants it, that's fine. But it's not as prescriptive as the GFSI benchmark standards.
Yeah, okay. That would be related to the question number 2, Bill. He asked you also about, does SQF standard also elaborate Codex Alimentarius elements? I think this is for HACCP, yeah?
Yeah, it does. It does. In fact, look, GFSI requires Codex Alimentarius HACCP for most industry sectors, not for all of them. Some of them, they say HACCP based. For manufacturing, they require full Codex HACCP. And if you look at our manufacturing code in section 2.4, it covers all the steps of Codex HACCP. We require a full food safety plan for all products within the scope based on Codex HACCP. So yes, we use that. Now, in the United States, for example, they're saying, why can't we use PCQI instead of a Codex HACCP? And basically, we've got a clause in the standard saying, if the regulations in a particular country require a methodology other than Codex HACCP, then the site has to do both They still have to meet Codex HACCP, and they also have to meet the regulatory system that applies within that country. So yes, we do require full Codex HACCP, and it's fully described in the code.
Okay. And last question, Bill. If a food manufacturers would apply SQF standard, what kind of another or other standards be needed in order to be acknowledged by international food community? Many thanks.
Well, you've got two different systems. You've got the regulatory, the country-to-country conditions that need to be met. So it could still be inspected by USDA or FDA if you were exporting into the US or by the regulatory authorities in other countries. But in terms of meeting retailer requirements, the SQF Food Safety Code is enough for most retailers in the United States and North America, also in Australia, except in Australia, for manufacturing sites, they also require the quality code for SQF certification. Some of the retailers, Aeon in Japan, will also recognize the SQF code. So it depends on the market you're supplying into. But most retailers will accept a GFSI benchmarked scheme, and SQF and BRC and FSSC and IFS are the major food manufacturing GFSI schemes. They're all recognized globally. Global Gap also in the primary sector. The advantage that I guess SQF has over some of the others is we cover primary and post-farm gate. We cover both.
That's interesting. Can you explain the last two, primary and what post-gate?
Okay, we have a number of different food sector categories, and I'll cover some of those as I go through. We have 30 something, I can't remember what it is, 31, 32 food sector categories that cover everything from livestock production, fruit and vegetable production, aquaculture in the seafood industry, broadacre crops, seeded sprouts we now have as a separate food sector category, all in primary production. We also have primary manufacturing in terms of slaughterhouses and packing sheds for fruit and vegetables. Then we have our manufacturing sectors. We have a whole swag of them. We have dairy, we have bakery, we have confectionery, we have meat processing. We have, I don't know, 20 different food sector categories in food manufacturing. We have storage and distribution. We have food packaging. We have food retail. We have food service. So we cover the whole supply chain. And most of them, not all of them, but most of them are GFSI benchmarked, GFSI recognized.
Okay, that's great. Very comprehensive explanation. Is that answering your question, Pak Joko?
Yeah. Many thanks, Bill. It's clear now to me.
Okay.
Okay. Can I keep going?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, okay. Keep going. Thanks. Okay.
I was going through the process that we use because I don't want anyone to think that we just create this in a vacuum. We just sit in a room and we decide what's going to happen. We use all our industry stakeholders with a process of technical working groups. I won't go through this process in detail because, but just to show you that it exists. But this does indicate, I know it's hard to read. You're not supposed to be able to read it anyway. We had somewhere in the region of 80 to 90 people from manufacturing sites, from certified sites, from retailers, from certification bodies, etc., that contributed to each of the technical working groups. So what we would do was send them out a draft document saying this is what we think that should happen, and then they would go through it in detail. And with a number of they provided some incredible input to us as we went through this process. Then we also had stakeholder feedback, where we sent out, once we had revisions of the document, we sent it out again to all our stakeholders, as many as we had access to. We got 230 people submitted, over 800 individual comments, and most of them within the food manufacturing codes. So this is what we ended up with in edition 9. So this is what has just been published and is going to be implemented in all SQF certified sites from the 24th of May next year. Instead of one food manufacturing code, we now have 5 food manufacturing codes. We've still got food manufacturing, but we've taken pet food and animal feed out of that, and they have got their own codes. So we've got a code for animal feed manufacturing and a code for pet food manufacturing. Why? Because the requirements are different. In some cases, it's HACCP based. Because GFSI only requires that for pet food, HACCP based, whereas in food manufacturing, it's full Codex HACCP. We also have a separate code now for animal products manufacturing, which covers slaughterhouses and value-added manufacturing of meat products. And we also have a new food safety code for dietary supplements. And the reason we created that was that dietary supplements are very often covered by other regulations in different jurisdictions, not necessarily by food safety regulations, but by therapeutic good regulations. So we created a separate code for dietary supplements. In primary, rather than the one code, we now have 3 codes, one for animal production, one for primary plant production, and one for aquaculture. We've continued with, we've updated also the food packaging code, and we had a lot of good input into that. And the storage and distribution code, and we had a lot of good input into that from the working groups, and the quality code. And I'll talk about the quality code in the next presentation. So basically, this is what we had in edition 8, edition 8.1 on the left-hand side, and this is what we've got on the right. 3 primary production codes, and where you see FSC there, that's food sector category. So primary livestock covers food sector category 1, which is livestock. Primary plant production covers primary seed production, fruit and vegetable production, packing sheds, and broadacre crops. And 6 covers, aquaculture covers obviously the seafood production. Then the 5 manufacturing codes, storage and distribution, quality code as well. And I'll come to the quality code, as I said, later. We also have a food retail code, which has not been updated because it's only been in publication for over 12 months. So it hasn't been updated to edition 9, but we do have a food retail code and a food service code for those particular industry sectors, and fundamentals as well, I will talk about later in the presentation.
Okay.
So just to give you what the structure of each of the codes is. Now this one is based on the food manufacturing code, but the protocol, the format is the same in all the codes. Every code has a part A, which is the introduction, which is an explanation, a guideline to sites, to suppliers, on how to implement and maintain the SQF code. It covers the food sector categories, the steps to achieving SQF certification, and there's 10 steps and some sub-steps in there to achieving SQF certification. And also, once you have achieved certification, how to maintain and continue with your SQF certification. So that's all guidance. It's not auditable. It's guidance for sites who are implementing it. Part B is what you see in the middle there. It's what we call the system elements, which is module 2, and the appropriate GMP or GAP or GDP modules. So in the system elements, we have 9 system elements. They're modified a little bit depending on the codes because of customization for various industry sectors, but it covers management commitment and responsibility, document control and records, specifications, formulations, and supplier approval. The food safety system, then that 2.4 is entirely based on regulations and Codex Alimentarius HACCP, the HACCP system. 2.5 is SQF system verification. 2.6, product traceability and crisis management. 2.7, food defense and food fraud. 2.8, allergen management, and 2.9 is training in food safety for those who are involved in the food safety system. The relevant GAP or GMP modules varies dramatically between the codes because it's based on primary production or it's based on manufacturing. In this case, it's based on the module 11 from the food manufacturing code, and you've got 8 sections in there from site location, site operation, personal hygiene, personal processing practices, water, ice and air supply, receipt, storage and transport, separation of functions right through to waste disposal. In the system elements, back in this column, then we have mandatory elements that cannot be marked as not applicable. But in all cases, it's all applicable sections and elements must be implemented and audited. And in the right-hand column there, you have a table in each of the codes of the food sector categories, detail of the food sector categories, how they relate to the GFSI industry sectors, what their definition is, and the modules that apply. We also have the glossary of definitions. We have the rules for the use of the SQF logo where it's required, and the requirements for multi-site certification within the SQF program. So how are we going? Any more questions?
Yeah, there is one question raised, Bill, from Ibu Rosi Aveli. I think I know her. Ibu Rosi, apa kabar? Do you want
to
get
a chance of knowing it than I do.
Ibu Rosi, do you want to ask directly, or I can read it for you? Hello, Bu Rosi? Okay, I think I just read lah.
Please read for me, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Bu. Hi, Bill. Could you please explain what is the advantage for good food manufacturers to apply SQF standard compared to other scheme? Example, ISO or FSSC or PRC something. Yeah, the what is the unique advantage, competitiveness?
Okay, can I hold that question to the end?
Okay, sure.
Because once you've heard from us and you've heard from Sarah as well, because Sarah will go through some of the requirements. It's very much a manufacturer's choice, which standard is appropriate to them. So we're not here to criticize other standards or to comment on other standards. We're here to say that SQF is an accredited standard. Our certification bodies have to be accredited to ISO 17065. We're also GFSI recognized, and we also have a quality module that sits on top of the SQF standard. Now, some manufacturers prefer BRC, some manufacturers prefer ISO 22000, but generally, what we are finding is the supply chain, and that's retailers and major manufacturers, want a GFSI benchmark standard for their suppliers. They're not looking for ISO 22000. ISO 22000 does apply to large manufacturers that want the same standard on all their sites globally. But a lot of the retailers that are looking for product certification, which is what SQF is, ISO 22000 is a management system standard. SQF is product certification. It's based on the products that are included in the scope of certification. It's not a guarantee, but it's an assurance of the products that are included in the scope of certification. So generally, we're finding retailers are looking for that and buyers in general are looking for that in their supply chain. But if that doesn't answer the question, wait until the end of the presentations and see if see if we can persuade you a little bit further.
Yeah, I think thank you, Bill, for your answer. I think the rest of the answer will be on Sarah's one, right? So
should be, yes. Yeah, she's a salesperson. I'm the technical guy, she's a salesperson. Okay, just to run through this quickly, and then we'll get to Sarah's presentation. I don't want to tie you up on this, but the edition 9 changes are partly structural, partly technical. Structural changes: we now have standalone codes for animal feed, for aquaculture, for dietary supplement, for livestock, and for pet food. And there's another reason why we think we are more appropriate than ISO 22000. Because we have the requirements in there that are specific for animal feed, specific for aquaculture, specific for dietary supplements, and all the other industry codes. So we now have new standalone codes, and these are some of them. We now have streamlined technical requirements on site location and operations, food safety culture, which is now predominant within GFSI and also within SQF. Chemical storage, personal hygiene specifications, and training. We've streamlined some of those technical requirements. Basically, across all the food safety modules, the number of sections we've reduced by 34% and the number of elements by 15% without affecting the integrity of the standard. In fact, we believe the integrity of the standard has improved. Some of the technical changes. The HACCP plans for storage and distribution have changed because GFSI does not require full Codex HACCP for storage and distribution. So we've allowed for that. But to answer the question before, the manufacturing code requires full Codex HACCP. There's some contentious issues around internal laboratories and food safety culture, which I'll come back to. And we're now also allowing for remote activities. So up to 50% of the audit can be conducted remotely. And that's really something that's come out of the pandemic and the inability of auditors to get on site to be able to audit sites. The two contentious issues are these ones. Food safety culture is a GFSI requirement these days. And we have always felt that food safety culture was embedded right throughout the code. But we've added a particular element, 2112, to all the codes, not just food manufacturing, all the codes. Senior site management shall lead and support a food safety culture within the site that ensures at a minimum. And there's 6 requirements in there, all of which were in the code before. So there's nothing new there. But it is a little bit scary for sites and for auditors to say, how do we implement, how do we audit food safety culture? So we're providing some guidance and some direction for auditors, because food safety culture is a journey, it's not a destination. The only thing that's new there is the last requirement: staff are empowered to act to resolve food safety issues within their scope of work. That's new, and it's something that will be audited as we move forward. Internal laboratories has been a bit of conjecture as well, because internal laboratories are now required to meet the applicable requirements of ISO 17025. Which is the laboratory accreditation standard. Now, that means proficiency testing for staff, making sure that labs are following good laboratory practices, which has not been a requirement before, but it's now a requirement for all GFSI standards, including SQF. So just in terms of some of the additional resources we've got in preparation for May 21, there's a series of short webinars. In fact, some of them are up on the SQF website now, are being offered to introduce key changes. They're all presented by a member of the SQF technical team. So we've got Christy, I'm doing the one on food safety culture. Leanne Chuboff has done the one on remote audits. In-house laboratory requirements are covered off, and the quality code is also covered off. And we will be, we're now in the process of updating our training programs so that they are also available in edition 9 for SQF practitioners. There is one of the problems we've got in Indonesia. We've got no SQF registered auditors.
Wow. Opportunity, yeah?
The big opportunity. There's a big opportunity. I believe you've got some of our registered certification bodies, license certification bodies, operate in Indonesia. In fact, I know they do. I'm not going to name them, but I know that they're there in Indonesia. But we don't have any food safety, any SQF food safety auditors. As the result of which, and I think there might be a representative with you today, we're in the process of losing a client in Indonesia because we haven't been able to get an auditor in there during the pandemic. The requirements for food safety auditors are firstly a university degree in food tech, food safety, or food hygiene. Doesn't have to be a master's degree, bachelor's degree is fine. Training is auditing the SQF code requirements, which is now a 3-day virtual classroom course. As I indicated, we just finished running one this week, where we had participants from the US, and we ran it in my time zone. I ran it. We had participants from Australia, we had a gentleman from Taiwan, and we had some people from US and Canada. So that's a requirement, the SQF auditor training course, a 40-hour lead auditor training course, any lead auditor training course, and a 2-day HACCP course is a requirement. And there's also an SQF food safety auditor exam. Auditors need to have 5 years experience in a food-related technical or supervisory role and 2 years work experience in every food sector category. They need to be registered by food sector category so that we can line up the appropriate food sector category of the auditor with the food sector category of the site. So 2 years work experience in a food sector category or 160 audit hours or a combination of both, but 5 years work experience in a food related technical role up front. Just touch on this quickly because it is a good introduction for some sites and for auditors into SQF. The SQF Fundamentals program is not GFSI endorsed, and it's not accredited. It's just an introductory program which is based on the Global Markets program for small to medium enterprises. And we've got basic and intermediate for growers, and we've got a basic and intermediate for manufacturers. The focus is more on implementing food safety and less about documentation. And it's set up to be, as I said, to meet the Global Markets program, and it builds into other SQF food safety codes. We're running a program in the meat livestock industry in Japan currently on the Fundamentals program. And the intent is, and it's been endorsed by a major retailer there, the intent is that they will get through the intermediate fundamentals program, and then they will gradually progress to full SQF certification further down the track. So that's me for now. I want to talk about the quality code at some stage as well, but I think I should have a break and give Sarah a chance to. Otherwise, you know, what are we paying her for, Dito, if she's not going to participate? You know.
Selamat datang. I'm ready.
Wow.
Okay,
Sarah.
you're finally ready.
Thank you for.
We started an hour ago, Sarah. You know.
you made gentlemen, ladies. Big thanks to the excellent, the best teacher ever in the world. I have been learning from Mr.
Thank
Bill.
you, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, very
yes,
clear.
We can hear you fine.
Okay. Dito will manage the slides for me.
Okay. I ma'am.
And I want to say a big thank you for your coming today and all the good questions. And most importantly, if you like the training of Mr. Bill, please send an email to Dito and tell him which part you like the most. And we will try to arrange more training in Indonesia for you, okay, about SQF.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is your slide, Sarah?
Yes, it looks perfect. And maybe, well, we are about the same age of SQF, everyone here. So congratulations, SQF. Now is this year is 25 25th years old, and congratulations. And you will see these two codes are some of our edition 9. One is a quality code and the other one is a manufacturing code.
Yeah.
Next page, please.
Sure.
Thank you, thank you. Bill has talked about this a bit, but we're so proud, so happy that we're coming to 2020 and with the edition 9. And you have seen so many editions of SQF, and edition 9 is really the best family of code to provide you the customized standards for your category, no matter you are storage and distribution, food manufacturing, cheese maker, retailers, and there will be a code for you. Thank you. Thank you. And also talk about GFSI recognized. So everybody is so familiar with the family of GFSI codes, recognized code. So, and our suggestion would be GFSI offers a very good range of food safety standards. And please take a look at all of them and talk to your customers, talk to your consultants, have a gap assessment, look at each standard and pick up one you like the most and grow up and grow with the standard and grow with the market. We also talk about this, and I'm going to show you the big chart of the GFSI recognized standard. That will be the previous page. Yeah, this one, SQF by alphabet order. SQF is on the bottom. And you will see that among all this GFSI scope for food safety and for food supply chain, SQF actually covers all of them. So if you choose SQF, then your supplier of different categories will be able to grow with you with the same food safety plans, same GMP, GDP, GAP. So it's a very easy to use family of standard with a SQF. The only standard, Bill might have a say about it, but the only standard we don't have is the start on the right-hand side, on the right button. And that is a broker and agent, which actually was canceled by SQF a few years ago. Because we focus so much, we commit to the real food safety. But with the broker and agent, there is no full food processing or food delivery practice. That will be just documentation or an empty site or an office. So this is the only category that SQF will not provide a standard anymore. So with SQF, you get a whole family of codes of the categories. Next, a quick introduction about the owner of SQF. So FMI is the biggest food industry association in US. Also, it might be the biggest in the world because it generates all the major key leading retailers in US and from the world. And the FMI provides all these retailer companies a lot of public affairs, consulting, policy development. And this year, actually, FMI also works as the consultant for US food supply to the White House press conference. So FMI is really a good organization to work with, to get to know. And please see one retailer here. On the left, on the top is HEB. We'll come back to this retailer later. And also you will see a lot of pharmacy brands here as FMI members. So FMI works very closely with the food retailers and pharmacy stores. And this also offers an opportunity to introduce SQF certified dietary supplement, which is a very special sector categories with the SQF standard. We'll move to the next one. We partner with the global retailers and the regional retailers. Just as Teacher Bill has mentioned, SQF grow with retailers. So we develop program and customize standards for the retailers. And so on the map, you will see SQF and FMI works with all the US retailers. And also we try to expand this kind of connection partnership into Asia region. Of course, first of all, Bill has been working with Woolworths and Coles for how many decades? May I say? so Woolworths and Coles are like a very important supporters for SQF standards. And also we are working with Walmart, Metro, Aeon, and Costco in this part of the world, in Asia country. And here I want to say, we do have some retailer best practice to share with you. When you see HEB, you see, maybe I have not heard about this retailer, but HEB this year in 2020 has become the most preferred supermarket brand in US to replace Whole Foods. Oh, and they have developed fantastic range of private brands, private products, and also customer service, and the most importantly, like food safety and quality training. HEB is one of the SQF training center in the world, and will be the first one by retailer. There will be second one in Asia very soon. And hopefully we will be able to work with Indonesia to launch the third one in the world. If supermarket retailer, if you are here today, we'll be very interested in working with you. How do we grow with the SQF and how do we grow with the market? So for SQF certified sites, we ask them, why do you want to get certified? So we get 4 types of answers. First of all, they want to export to US and Australia. And if Boo is here, we want to say hi and thank you for working with SQF for many years. Boo from Arnold's. And the other one is international supply chain, like the international buyer or the international company. They want to source products from different countries. And they will say, okay, you are in my international supply chain and I would like to have all my suppliers certified with SQF. So we have a consistent food safety standards across my supply chain. And the third scenario is high risk category. Later we'll see some example of oils. What's the value to get cooking oil certified? Because cooking oil has been considered as a high risk category in some countries of Asia region due to the food fraud scandal. So we realized that some products might not be so significant in the past, and they are for single market only. And why do they want to invest in SQF certification and to be a different, to establish a better marketing niche with food safety and quality? And that's because they are one of the high risk categories we work with. And the fourth is emerging brands, new brands. Next year, if you, maybe you see the famous bird nest product from China being certified with SQF quality, because this is the biggest bird nest processor in China, and they want to create customer trust. They want to create a better marketing niche with their commitment in the food safety and the quality. So emerging brands in single market also become SQF customers. And we hope you will choose your favorite reason and to be SQF certified. And we will grow together with the retailers and with the market and with the consumer. We would like to show you some examples. High growth category in Asia, that would be protein. All sorts of meats, eggs, dairy. So these are brands, some brands SQF work with globally. And you will see the first line, ConAgra, Smithfield, Cisco. All these are like a very typical. And also you will see the names of Korean company, Japanese company, Mexican company, and also a lot of distinguished consumer brands, not just processor, but also brands. So this is how SQF work with the retailers, work with the suppliers, especially we work with very good brands to support their marketing, their commitment to food safety and quality. Next page, we want to see more.
Wow, you have
Can you
bahasa.
see that?
You have bahasa.
So I don't have to explain, right?
Okay.
Please enjoy it. I prepared this for you.
You translate this, ah?
Nah, Google does it.
Okay.
So this is one of the biggest company in Japan, and they have been working with SQF and Bill for 1 decade at least.
1 decade. Okay.
Hey, yeah. So this company is the biggest Wagyu, the very delicious beef processor in Japan,
expensive.
and they start to export to Asian countries. So if you want to work with a Wagyu, and please also consider SQF standard, because that's the #1 leading company choose. And the best thing is all the Japanese company we work with, they do understand SQF standard. They deliver and they learn. It's becoming part of their daily life. So you see a lot of example later, how they describe, how they understand SQF and deliver in their work. So Pride Food is also #1 poultry, chicken processor in Japan. They also own the franchisee of Kentucky Fried Chicken in Japan.
Oh, wow.
And last year they have been certified with a new standard that Bill has created. It's an SQF Tokyo Sustainability Addendum for sustainability standard. So this is a very, very, very good company, and we are aware about 40 sites of this company has been SQF certified so far. And next page is we talk about Eon, right? Dito, and yeah, and
we have
this
Eon
is
here. We have Eon in Indonesia.
Yeah. And Eon director told me they are selling this product to 5 countries in Asia, and I hope one will be Malaysia, because this is a really good product, really good ready to cook beef product, and also one of the star products in Eon for their private label. So you see on the cover, it still says Aeon top value. But on the bottom, you see, oh, that's a SQF quality certified suppliers. Next page, another example. This is also very delicious. It's a ready to heat up hamburger, very good quality. And so with retailers, it's pretty safe, actually. It's a good assurance if you work with the SQF quality certified product. And this will support you to communicate with your customers that your quality and the food safety has been covered. And it's the #1 salmon processor company in the world. Their new name is called Mowi. And we want to say hi, because there might be a seafood visitor here today. So we want to show you some of our seafood customers. And we come to the dairy. This is also the high value, high growth category with Pretend. And globally, we have over 1,000 sites and brands working with the SQF, especially on the first line. You see, all these are like Chinese names. All these are top 5 dairy brands in China, and they all work with the SQF. Well, one of the reasons is probably because we have the exclusive farm, cattle farm, livestock standard recognized by SQF. But another reason is that they want to choose a better way to communicate with their customers about their commitment to food safety and quality. Do we have Yakult in Indonesia?
Yes, it's my favorite in Indonesia.
Me too. So that's why I choose this product.
Oh, they are certified SQF in Japan?
Yeah, this is a case in Taiwan.
Oh, Taiwan.
And we're talking to Yakult in China at the moment. So, and this is also a dairy product. So all these high value, sort of high risk, high value categories. If you work with the SQF, we create a way to present your commitment to food safety and quality. And also SQF is very happy to support your press conference or marketing events. We will have Bill on the big screen in your activity. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, what is
and if you click next time, we can see the commercial films. SQF logo. SQF has been used in many commercial films on TV. So every night when I was watching TV with my mom, I'm like, always, SQF has the best milk. SQF has the best cooking oil. So it's yeah, I feel proud.
Of course. This is
egg processing also again protein. And a lot of these are actually suppliers to the top retailers. So for example, this is the biggest egg processor in Australia.
Okay.
And they work with so many sites, all are SQF certified. And you see how the certificate look like with SQF. So it's very important you work with a credible licensed CB, and that CB is properly accredited by NC or JSS. And also your address, the audit dates will all be on the certificate. Next one is a Costco Supplier. This company has been like a SQF certified. Then they become the supplier to Costco. Then they become the supplier of 7-Eleven. And they are the most expensive eggs in Taiwan now.
Wow. So I should sell eggs to Taiwan then?
Oh, yeah. and actually, eggs, we will have another new customers in China. It will be a certification project from the chicken feed to chicken farm to egg processing. So it's a egg industry with the whole, like across the supply chain certificate with SQF. And FSC dietary supplement and also food ingredient are also very important categories for SQF. We'll see some examples to see how the international major company, they are the most famous, like a contract manufacturer of the healthy food in America, and they use SQF as their like a top food safety standards. So if we want to become part of the global supply chain, then we work with SQF. This is an example in China how the SQF quality shield is in use for the market. We know that we have learned that in Indonesia, the logo, the commercial logo should not be in use at the moment for the product, for the retail package. It might change one day. If it doesn't change, it can still be used in your commercial advertisement or paper or consumer communications. Oil, we talk about high risk category. So we'll see some examples, some more. This is, okay, sorry, back to the previous page. Do you recognize the logo?
Yeah, it's private brand, Carrefour.
Yeah, oh wow. Yeah, so again, private brand. And the next page will be their own brand.
Okay, wait.
Okay, there are so many commercial films about it, and next time when we have time, we can look at that. And also, this is we want to show you some very interesting examples, like Asian traditional food can also be certified. This is dumpling, gyoza. This is one of the favorite food by Japanese. And the #1 gyoza processor brand is actually SQF certified. And they also have a lot to say about their understanding in SQF. So next page, they also present their quality, food safety and quality tree with all their food safety practice. Thank you. And if you please visit the Mall of Indonesia in Jakarta, because you might be able to taste some famous dumpling by Din Tai Fung. And yeah. So in Taiwan, this flour is the exclusive flour supplier to Din Tai Fung dumpling.
Yeah, Din Tai Fung is quite famous.
Yeah, isn't it? So yeah, it's good to see it's also available in Indonesia, and we love dim sum as well. So this is
Sarah, can you Dito, can you just go back to that that last slide?
The flower?
Yeah, that one there. Because I just noticed on here that and it answers the question that we had before about ISO 22000 and SQF. Because this product has got, I think that's halal certification on it. It's got ISO 22000 certification on it, and it's got SQF certification on it, which is all valid, right? But that site has chosen to go with SQF because there is an advantage in that standard, a marketing advantage and a technical advantage over and above just having ISO 22000 and HACCP. So it really depends on the site, but we know and Sarah can verify this, but we've got a number of clients in China and throughout Asia that have got more than one certification, including SQF. Just wanted to point that out while we were there. That
yeah, answering the question from Ibu Rosi previously. Thank you, Bill.
Oh, yes. That's actually what Bill has mentioned is a very important thing for a major food company is to manage a certification portfolio, which means you have a bigger market than the other brands, than the other company. You have to meet up with a different standard requirement by different customer. So you manage a portfolio, a range of certification for your different customers. It's a very, very common. It's a best practice by some international company that we work with. Some of the companies we work with, they will have more than 10 certifications. And okay, actually, we might have a good example later, but can we please go back to the previous page? It's bigger. I want to show you something. Okay, and also on the bottom, you notice what's the FSC code for all this product? What are SQF FSC code? Why is it so important? So for flour, you go with FSC 22. And next one, we go to a different FSC. Next one will be the noodle, right?
Let me check. Yeah.
Yes.
Noodle.
Yeah. This is a noodle sold, offered at Amazon.
Okay.
And it's getting so popular.
Can I pause first here, Sarah? I'm starting to understand that each product would have a specific FSC code, under SQF. So that's make a unique point compared to other schemes because, for example, I'm certified FSSC. I don't have this kinds of FSC number 20 or 21 or 30 something,
Really? That's a good question. That's a good topic. And also, you see, even tofu can find FSC with SQF. That is a canning and the aseptic operation. Even tofu. So all this Asian traditional food that we have seen, like a tofu, noodle, and we can find a customized, appropriate FSC to get properly certified with SQF. That's one of our advantage.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Bill,
yes,
you want
Bill.
to add some more?
Yeah, Dito, it's Bill again. If you look at ISO 22000, FSSC 22000, there are 4 manufacturing codes. C1, C2, C3, C4. Right?
Yes.
Animal processing, plant processing, et cetera. We have got, I don't know, 12. Because, and so does BRC, so do the other product certification standards, because they want more specificity. That's what Sarah is saying. We want to be able to identify dairy sites, bakery sites, flour milling sites, recipe processing sites, confectionery sites, beverage sites, etc. And we want to be able to identify the hazards and controls within that particular site and have auditors with the skills to audit that particular food sector category. That's why we have such an emphasis on food sector categories.
So that's why the SQF standard is more specific on different categories of the product, right?
Yes, and we'll be interested to have a discussion about how the Indonesian fermented rice can fit in any categories.
Yeah, another session for this.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, I will pause here first, Sarah. Maybe we give opportunity for the participants to ask. Yeah.
Yes, please. Anytime. You're welcome.
Yeah. Before I want to greet also, because among the participants, I'm honored because my counselor from university is here.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, Pak Sukarno.
Hello.
Pak Sukarno, are you there? He's my counselor during my study in the university.
Hello,
Pak Sukarno.
Mr. Counselor.
Pak Sukarno, you want to give some comments perhaps? Because you are trained for SQF in some years ago, right?
Oh yeah. I took SQF training for implementing SQF and also
Oh, I think the connection. Wow. Yeah, I think
in
the
Indonesia and Jakarta.
Okay. Pak Karno, I think your connection is not really clear. Okay, I can see you now. Okay, yeah, good. Wow, long time not seeing you.
Mr. Counselor, would you please send us an email? We would like to know you.
Oh, okay. I think his connection is troubled.
Hello, Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And back to the slides. Another traditional food is soy sauce.
Soy sauce. Yeah.
Yes. So it's we want to work with more and more Asian traditional food to get certified properly. And you see, that's how many edisi code a soy sauce processor can go with.
Sorry, wait. I will mute because there is a noise. Okay. Okay, you can continue, Sarah.
Okay, thank you. So next one should be the last one.
Oh yeah, wait. This one is a Korean brand.
This is the #1 Korean sauce maker. They are so big. Everybody is watching their stock price, and also Samsung wants to work with this company, Sabian, for the kitchen product. So this is also one of our the most important customers in South Korea.
Okay.
And so see, again, it's a traditional food sauce again. So please call us the expert of Asian traditional food.
Okay.
Okay. And very proudly present you our best teacher again. Wow, if you want to have more training by Mr. Bill Mcbride, please send the email to Dito. Okay, and we can arrange.
Bill. Okay, great.
Great, okay. Any questions is welcome. Otherwise, we'll move to how to get certified with SQF, how to get prepared.
Okay, I think before we move to the next slide, there is also one question actually for Bill. From NH. Okay, this is abbreviation. Hi Bill, what is the crisis management? Is it same with withdrawal or recall process?
No, it's not. Crisis management particularly relates to extraordinary events. Recalls are things that happen within the facility, within the site. Something goes wrong, so the product is recalled. But crisis management relies on the management processes that the site has in place for extraordinary events. So for example, the pandemic, that we currently have, we've had bushfires and wildfires here in Australia, floods, etc., major energy outages, etc., acts of war, etc., can all impact a site's ability to supply, and that comes under management. Now, within the code, we require a management system for recalls and withdrawals, and a separate management system for crisis management.
Okay, that's quite clear. Is that okay, NH?
Oh, thank you. And this is part 4. This is the 4th topic for today. We will be talking about how to get SQF certified. So you see the same content. It should, Bill, I will change to a wider slide later. I think I have changed it, but that's okay.
Wait, it's okay. Perhaps
okay,
before we
have the full screen.
Yeah, before we go to the steps of certifications, perhaps any of the participants wants to raise question directly, please. Any of you?
I also, okay, we'll get back to that later. So there are some steps to get to become SQF certified, and this is exactly the same content you will see on the SQF edition 9 codes. So it's very clear. Just follow the path. And we'll start with step 1. Step 1, register on the SQF database online. So in the future, your consultant or your CB will be able to help out with this one. But it's important to register with SQF to start everything. And step 2 is to get a SQF practitioner. SQF practitioner is a very important role for SQF standards and also for the sites. This SQF person needs to be trained or self-study. He needs to understand the standard properly. Yes, we can finish. We only have about 4-5 slides.
Okay.
So it's very important to have a specialist in your site, and his job function is called SQF practitioner. When you come to the SQF training in the future, and you learn more about the responsibility, big responsibility of SQF practitioner. Step 3, determine the scope of certification, which is your site. What's the operation line, what's the production line, and what will be the FSC. And you need a CB auditor, or you need a technical expert, or you need a SQF consultant to help you to identify the proper scope. And next is, Bill, feel free to join me anytime. And next is to document your SQF system and implement that. Please, we might be able to show you the SQF code later. This is a very practical code. You please just feel free to download a copy for free. Then download a copy and have a look at, and it's very practical guide. You read it and you learn about it. It's very comprehensive. So you document your system, your records, and implement the system. Then you are ready for the pre-assessment audit. It can be done by your practitioner. It can be done by your consultant. Yes, Dito?
Sorry to cut. Just to make sure, is it real free? Because for other standards we need to buy.
We heard about that. And you might need to type your email, and that's all it costs. Do you mind sharing your email? And that's all.
Oh, so in return, just email, yeah? But
yeah.
Standards for free.
Let me just interrupt there. You can find all the SQF codes online on the SQF website, sqfi.com. You'll find all the resources there free as PDFs, free of charge. No charge to anyone except us. No charge to anyone for any of the SQF codes. So they're all freely available to anyone who wants to download them, have a look.
Okay.
Actually, I just emailed to Dito the link to download the SQF Edition 9 manufacturing. So why don't you like take a trial on the screen later and show to us? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Just continue
so
first.
After your pre-assessment audit, yes.
Yeah, just continue first. I will send the link later. Yeah.
Okay. After the gap assessment, it's very important to do all these corrective actions and prepare the records again, and get ourselves ready for the audit. Then you start to talk to certification body. Certification body will arrange you an auditor with the corresponding FSC. Again, very important. This auditor will know about your site, your products, because he has been approved by SQF with the right FSC food safety categories. And so with this type of technically excellent auditor, you'll be able to communicate and work with. And the next one is you will get your initial. Oh yes, Rasi has a question. We will come back to Rasi very soon.
Yeah.
Okay, and certification step 8, the initial certificate audit. You will work with the certification body and to do the first audit. How do you decide how many days for the audit duration? So the code has all the answers, and your certification body, your CB, will be able to help you to decide what would be the most suitable audit duration for your size. Minimum 2 days for food safety, and also half day to 1 day for quality certification. And for this, because please discuss with your certification body. And also you see 8.2, there's a corporate audit. If you're a big group company with so many branches, sites, like the Japanese Wagyu company with the 56 sites, come to talk to us. The corporate audit program might suit your company. Okay, then we move to, then that will be the audit reporting and the closeout. So please work closely with your CB, and they will guide through with you all this. But we will talk about something interesting, the score, later. Then when you are finally approved, then you can see that step. Okay, then when you pass all this audit and close out your non-conformances, NC in 30 days, and the CB will look at all the evidence and the records and your corrective actions, and finally grant you a certificate. You just see the certificate on our previous slides. So it needs to be like a credible certificate to come to you. And let's see how we get scored. Next.
Wow, what is this?
Any secret?
You should explain. It's not common for ISO certified industries. It's not common also for FSSC, PRC. I don't think it's this complicated. So please explain to us.
Okay, Dito, I'm losing the slides. Can you see that?
I'm still.
We can see it. We can see it.
Yeah. Oh, you can see it. Okay.
Actually, it's probably better just to move on to the next one, because that one's a bit complex. It's going to take time to go through.
So I move the slides.
You move the slide on, and that'll explain. It'll explain the rationale.
The grading one. The grading, yeah.
Okay, and we are coming to page 4. So you see how we rate.
Well, you can see how you score first, because the score is the one at the top. That's the score that was, that you were using on the previous slide. So basically every site gets 100 points to start with. Now, let me back up and say, we don't necessarily like having a scoring system. So we prefer the ISO 22000 system, where you just have non-conformances and you close them out. And in the quality code, that's what we do. In the quality code, we don't have a score or rating. But our retailers, particularly in the US, still want a score and rating. So this is what we have.
Okay.
So if they ask, if the element meets the criteria, nothing is deducted. If there's a minor non-conformance, then it's 1 point off. If there's a major non-conformance, there's five points off. Currently, it's 10 points under the existing standard, but that will be 5 points in addition 9. And there'll be 50 points off if there is a critical non-conformance.
Wow,
So basically, that relates to the rating. If there's a score of 96 to 100, then, or 86 to 95, it's the 12-month recertification audit. Certificate is issued. If it's under that, if it's between 70 to 85, there is a 6-monthly surveillance audit because of the number of non-conformances raised. And anything under 70 is considered to have failed the audit. Or if it's a recertification, would be suspended from their audit, from their certification.
Okay. That's clear.
So there is a scoring system, there is a rating system.
Yeah. And what is this steps, Sarah?
Hello. Okay.
Yep.
Do you think is it possible to show us the code?
Okay, I stop share first. Perhaps you can answer the question from Ibu Rosi first. Hi Sarah, need your favor to share. In your presentation, I saw some ISO 22000 or HACCP logo in the product packaging. Is it allowed? Because based on my understanding, the system certification is different with product certification, where logo of system certification is not permitted in product packaging. I think it's related to Indonesian regulation.
This gentleman has very good eyes. No, it is not allowed. No, it is not allowed. The only allowed logo will be SQF Quality Shield.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Sarah. Wait a minute, because ISO 22000 and HACCP would be allowed. Depends on the jurisdiction, the regulations.
Yeah.
But in most countries, ISO 22000 and HACCP would be allowed. What is not allowed is any GFSI certification. So we cannot provide a logo or a mark that says it's GFSI recognized. GFSI does not allow any logo or mark on the retail product. The mark that you saw on Sarah's product is the quality shield, which only applies to quality certification, which is over and above GFSI requirements. But they do not allow a logo or mark to be used for GFSI certified standards.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yes. Maybe Sarah, you can add some more information because we have discussed about this, right?
Yes, Bill is right about that. In a couple of countries, the use of the HACCP and ISO 20000 is not actually encouraged, but yeah, there are some exemptions. But as Bill mentioned, SQF Quality Shield is designed to be in use for the retail package, as the examples of pictures that we share. So thanks for the good question. It's an important topic, and when we talk about the certification portfolio, I also want to go back to the slides. But you decide, Dito. We can take a look at the code first, or answer the question, or look at the slides again.
Maybe just answer first.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Because Bill has already answered. And maybe some additional information from you and perhaps from me. Let me open.
Sorry, so Pak Dito?
Yes, Bu.
So that now there is some new regulation that some of country allowed it to put the logo of system certification. If I'm not wrong, to accept the explanation from Bill. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I just want to add some more information as well, because it's, as Bill said, it's depending on each country jurisdiction or regulation. And as for now, Indonesia by BPOM, the Indonesian FDA, has a slightly different regulation on that. So yes, you are correct, Brosi, that until today, we cannot put the ISO or HACCP logo yet in the retail packaging. But in Sarah presentation, she mentioned that perhaps in the future, if the regulation has changed due to international trading, we are ready for that. That's what I understand from the whole discussion this afternoon.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep. So Sarah, I show you the code, right? You want to explain something on this?
Yes.
Sorry, just before you get to that detail, I was just going to ask, you're not allowed to put system certification marks in Indonesia, but things like, halal certification or the SQF quality shield, which is not particularly a certification mark, would that be permitted, or is that not allowed under Indonesian regulations?
Good question. Halal, because halal is already acknowledged by the government, so it's okay. And Indonesia halal now is mandatory, so it's open, to put the halal logo on the retail packaging. For SQF shield or other quality logo, I need to research first. Perhaps if any one of you or Pak Sukarno have information on this, we can discuss this here, because it's not recognized yet by our regulatory body.
It would be worthwhile pursuing, because I know in other Asian countries they see that as a marketing advantage, as Sarah's indicated in her presentation, in using the quality shield where they are quality certified. I have to stress on their retail packaging.
It's okay. It gives me some idea, Bill. Maybe perhaps we have another session inviting our regulatory body to give a comment on this. So we will have a good discussion on how put the logo into the retail packaging. But I think our discussion now is just up to this, because it's our regulatory, it's our regulation. We cannot do anything up to now. Yeah. Oh, Bill, you are okay. Yeah.
And Bill, do you have a say about this, your new baby food safety code edition 9?
Well, we've already shown that in the first presentation, so I think they've probably seen enough of it. So, yeah, and the food safety code for food manufacturing is only one of the whole suite of edition 9 codes
of the family. We actually want to show to the audience the appendix 1, the FSC.
Appendix mean the last page, huh?
Which is right. Well, it's not the last page, but it's close to. Yeah.
The last part of the code.
Let me.
And you see the page is the different direction, and we have to turn it around.
This is appendix 4. Is this one?
Okay, we are looking for appendix 1.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, so have you been charged to download this code?
I will give the link to the participants after this.
No, sorry. I'm just joking. I think it's with this it's available on the website. It's open for downloading, so no problem, right?
For free, for free.
Yeah, no charging, right?
Okay, I need to wait. Rotate clockwise. Okay.
In the future training, maybe we'll have an opportunity to discuss all the detail of all these categories with you.
Wow,
but any product, yes, you will be able to find your product in any of this category. And occasionally, you might want to combine a couple of FSC to present your whole food production operation. So very detailed with the description of the product items, how it is processed.
Yeah. Okay, I think I want to greet some of the participant because I invited one of your clients, Sarah, Bill, the Arnold's company, but I think Ibu Kartika is absent, but she appoint her representative, Pak Wibowo. Are you there? Pak Wibowo?
Yes,
Hello?
Mr.
Ah, good to see you. Nice to meet you. You are from Arnold's, right? Arnold's Indonesia, Bekasi,
Yes,
ya?
correct. Yep.
Perhaps under which FSC category? I just want to check. Do you remember your factory under which FSC category?
Would that be the snack?
Yeah, snack.
Snack means
Perfect.
13, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so do you have any information on your factory? How long have you used the SQF standard, and share how is your experience being audited by SQF auditors?
We have certified for the SQF for from 2010 and until now, and
2010.
we have,
wow,
yeah,
10 years. Okay.
And for the certification, we have certified until January 2021, but during this COVID situation, we cannot we cannot being audited by the auditor because we don't have any auditor in Indonesia, Mr. Tuko.
Oh, as Bill mentioned previously,
Yep,
yeah.
correct.
Okay. But how is your grade? Because previously there is excellent grade, good grade. What is
in the previous audit, we get a good score. Grading good score. Wait a minute.
Grading me good means which one?
That's an unfair question, Dito. if honest is not
unfair,
a grade, no.
Sorry, apology for that. I just want to introduce your client to you directly.
Yeah, no. Look, I appreciate that, and honestly, I know you don't realize this, but we have been working very hard to try and find a way to keep that client in Indonesia for two reasons. One is that it's our only Indonesian client, and also that it's part of the Campbell Arnott's group. And Arnott's is traditionally an Australian company, and we would like to be able to keep that site within the SQF family. There are ways of doing that, and if anyone from the Arnott's in Indonesia wants to contact me, I will go through the options of how we could perhaps retain their certification beyond January 2021.
Okay, that's a good information. Okay, I think that's all the presentation from Bill and Sarah, right? So
thank you. And I also want to say thank you to the Mr. from the Arnold. And thank you for working so hard for 20 years. And we trust your product quality will be really, really good.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we still have several
questions?
minutes. Yeah, so I think it's our time for open discussions. Feel free, Bapak Ibu. If you want to ask directly, just open your mic, unmute, and you can ask anything because we have 6 minutes left before we end this discussion.
I think we've answered all the questions on the chat line, Dito. Is that right?
Yep, I think we have
yeah.
already, yeah. But I give some more opportunities for anyone of Bapak Ibu.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah.
Yes, please, questions are welcome, but we also want to go back to, do I have a minute to go back to part 1, page 22? Please, okay. I'm begging you, teacher.
No, oh yeah. Okay, which one, Sarah?
Part 1.
Part 1, okay.
Part 1, many product pictures. That one.
This one, right? Yeah, I shown this to the participants that you have a lot of FSC categories specific to products.
Yeah, this is
honey,
the
egg.
PDF. And the is that okay to go back to the PowerPoint? Part 1. We want to discuss, have a quick conclusion about certification portfolio. And I have an excellent example for us.
This one?
Yes, part 1, page 22.
Oh, sorry.
Right. You will see this is part 4.
Yeah.
Okay. You will see how a major company work out a certification portfolio starting from ISO 22000 10 years ago. Page 22.
22, okay.
Yes, this one. Yeah, this one. So if we zoom in that slides, you will see ISO 22000, FSC, and IFS. Can you? On the left-hand side, among all these Chinese characters, yes, bigger. This company actually create a certification ladder one by one going up. So 10 years ago, they started with ISO 22000 and they get improved. Then they upgrade to FSC 22000. They think they're doing great a couple of years later. Then they upgrade to IFS, another GFSI recognized food safety standard, very, very austere one. So after all this, after 10 years of hard working, they choose to work with SQF as the highest level of food safety and quality certification. So this is how this cooking oil company manages a certification portfolio, or we can say a certification ladder. They climb from ISO 22000 to FSC, then climb up to IFS, and eventually the last one they achieved is SQF. So this might be a good example to show us how we can work with different certification programs and continuously improve our site, our operation with the food safety and quality. And that's all for me.
So Dito, let's give your participants the opportunity to ask any questions.
Yeah, sure. We still have a couple of minutes. So Bapak Ibu, any one of you want to raise questions again? I think from the early beginning, we have no idea what SQF is, but starting from Bill's presentation, we got the history of SQF, right? Starting from 90 somethings with the SQF 100 to 1000, 2000 edition, and then evolving until the newly launched SQF edition 9. And then we are moving to each category, that each product has a different FSC category, which is different, unique one compared to other scheme standards. And then we move to Sarah. She told us about the usage, which industry use this logo and certification and schemes. So okay, it's some just a recap from my side. So I give you opportunity to 1 or 2 questions from all of the participants, please. Here are my friends also from consultant, Pak Adit. Pak Adit, are you there?
Yes, sorry Dito, but yes, good afternoon everybody. But my apology, I cannot turn on my video camera.
No problem. Do you have any feedbacks, comments, or questions, please, Pak?
Interesting. For me, which is so, what I would say, so still common for me to look at this standard thoroughly, but because the most favorite ones in Indonesia is ISO 22000 and halal now recently is becoming so famous due to the pressure from the recent regulations, in particular in Indonesia. and then the other thing is FSSC. Those are the three most commonly used in Indonesia. To be honest, I'm really a newbie, I would say, to the FSQ, but interesting. I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to learn about the standard, yeah, Dito, and also a good news also because this standard freely distributed, as Susan said, just only need to input our email address. Okay, so
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
Sarah Padit, not Susan.
Sorry, not Susan, Sarah. Okay. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Continue, and I hope we can further deliver this kind of standard in Indonesia to cover widely community for the Indonesians. Okay. Go move forward, Dito, and thank you for Gosystem. Thank you for Sarah. Thank you for Bill. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ashma.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
He's my college from community because I have I joined a local community named IIEA, Indonesian ISO Expert Association. So we have different group discussions. One of it is halal and one of it is food safety. So yeah, he's one of the guy. Okay, one question, Bill, coming from Pak Sunario or perhaps Sarah. But yeah, how to become SQF registered auditor? Are there any specific requirement needed? Because our condition now, without any Indonesian auditor, there will be huge cost for SQF certification. I think we have explained this, but please just explain more.
Yeah, there are some costs. There are some costs for SQF auditor certification, but auditors need to be aligned with a certification body. Because basically it's a certification body that's responsible for the audit, not the auditor. So our certification bodies are all ISO 17065 accredited, and they're all licensed, and auditors need to be contracted to or at least sponsored by a certification body. And as I indicated before, they need to have a university degree, need to have been through lead auditor training, need to go through SQF systems training and HACCP training, and have a minimum of 5 years industry experience to apply for an SQF auditor. Now we can run, just to add to that, Dito, we can run auditor training from here for potential SQF auditors in Indonesia. Your 4 hours different. You know, we do it virtually these days. It's three 3-hour sessions over 3 days. So we can do that if there's a demand for it in Indonesia. And we would welcome that demand because we would like to see growth in Indonesia.
Sure. So Pak Sunario and perhaps Bapak Ibu who are interested in this training, you can send me inquiry. You can open website www.gosystemconsulting.co.id. I will pass your inquiry to Bill. So perhaps if the participants is meeting the minimum quota, we can run the training for you. Or perhaps Sarah, you want to go to Indonesia next year? Just to visit your market here.
Oh, definitely. I've been to Jakarta many times, and I love the food and the weather, and also the donuts. Every ladies eat 2 or 5 donuts every day. So this is great. And thank you, Mr. Counselor, and thank you for question, Ashmat, sir. And please, again, if you like the SQF training, please send the email to Dito. And we will put all these emails together and try to organize some more activities in Indonesia for you. And this kind of internet webinar is very convenient. And Bill will be able to teach us again on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Big applause for you, Bill, the teacher, and also Sarah. Okay, one more opportunity for questions. Any one of you, Bapak Ibu, want to have a direct question to our 2 speakers this afternoon? I think in the chat room also finished, Bill.
Yeah, there's no more in the chat that I can see.
Yep. So time is up. It's 4:05. Perhaps closing statement from you, Bill?
Well, we were asked a question before, why SQF? And I'm not sure if we've answered that yet, but Sarah has given a very good explanation of the advantages of SQF, of where it fits in relation to ISO 22000 and the other standards. From our point of view, we see the advantages as it is GFSI benchmarked, it is accepted by retailers and buyers globally, it is much more prescriptive than ISO 22000 or FSSC 22000 in that we cover more industry sectors and specific industry sectors. It is much more retailer specific, and we also have the quality code on top of that, which we really haven't had a lot of opportunity to discuss today. But we have the quality code on top of that, which gives quality certification as well as food safety certification. So there's a number of advantages that we think SQF has over other standards. Obviously, the choice is up to the individual supplier, but we would be happy to work with you to try and encourage more SQF certifications in Indonesia.
Okay, great. So I think that's all. Sarah, you want to add some more closing statement before we end this webinar today?
And thank you very much. Terima kasih very much. So hope to talk to you very soon. Thank you for joining today.
Okay, so I will send you a link for like a presentation. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I don't think it's needed. Okay. I will send each participant for the link that Sarah has shared me, and you can download it all the standards for free. Okay, there is comment from Ibu Rosi. Thank you for sharing nice presentation. Yeah, thank you very much. You are welcome. And hope to see you again.
Dito will also send you a PDF of these presentations, Sarah's and mine.
Oh, great.
And including the quality code one that we couldn't get to, so that you can share that with participants. It'll be a PDF, not a PowerPoint, but we'll send you the PDF so people can have a look at it.
Okay, great. So good news for you, Bapak Ibu. We will send the copy of PDF materials and also the link. Okay. Oh, one last question coming in the last minute, Bill. Is SQF can be integrated with the other systems like FSSC or ISO?
Yes, it can. Yes, it can, because they're all based on GFSI requirements. FSSC has to meet GFSI requirements, so does SQF. Now, I mean, Sarah mentioned before that we have a vegetable oil site in China that's got FSSC and ISO and SQF. Why are they doing that? Basically because they want the quality certification on top. FSSC doesn't offer that, SQF does. So they're going for FSSC and SQF quality certification. But yes, you can combine if it's necessary, and we're not encouraging people to go for multiple certifications, but if it's necessary, if it's required, if it's a market requirement, then we can add SQF onto other certification standards.
Okay, hope that answer your question. Ibu NH. Ibu NH is actually one of my clients and colleagues, Bill. She's from Mulia Bogaraya, the cheese producer in Indonesia. Okay, so I think everybody is give a big congratulate for you both. So big applause for you. Thank you very much, Bill, Sarah. And I think yep.
I'm just going to say thank you, Dita, for the opportunity to speak to our colleagues in Indonesia. It's been great.
Sure, my pleasure. My pleasure, Bill and Sarah. Hope to invite you again in our next session. And thank you, Bapak Ibu, for all of your time and discussions for today. Very nice, very good insights for today, yeah. So hopefully we can see you again in the next event. And perhaps before we close, can you open your video if you can? I want to have a quick screenshot before we bid farewell. Oke, wow, Ibu Neni, Ibu Nur, oke. Pak Adit, Pak Joko, everybody, Ibu Rosi. Hai Ibu Rosi. Pak Sigit. Pak Sigit is my senior from Starbucks Indonesia. Hai Pak Sigit.
Hai. Hai Pak Sigit.
Halo Pak Dito, halo Sarah, halo Bill.
Halo, terima kasih.
Very nice. Okay. I'm taking screenshot ya. Okay, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. Next one, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you very much for coming and see you again. Stay healthy ya. Okay.
Thank you, Dito.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you, Archie, Matt.